only in the low 40s. And as we go into the weekend, actually, we're going to warm up into the 50s. So a little relief as we go toward the weekend around here. The 5-degree guarantee for today, I said 57. We actually saw 64 degrees, I should say. And, of course, that's a miss for today. Tomorrow, I say we'll see a high temperature of 42 degrees here in Rochester. Tonight, cloudy skies. The front comes through. Some scattered showers, low 34 degrees, winds out of the northwest. Now, as we go through the next few days, I'll show you here, we have got some scattered showers in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. And also, as we go into Sunday, and temperatures will be in the 40s as we go through the weekend, and 50s by Monday and Tuesday.
I'm anxious for when it gets up into the 60s, 70s, 80s. Then we can talk.
Eventually, that'll come.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Well, opponents of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants the leader to step down. This after controversy over a political appointment. We'll have the details coming up.
The tobacco industry may be close to settling lawsuits filed against them. The White House is insisting any settlement must protect children. Imagine popping a pill that can speed up your metabolism and burn fat. No, it's not science fiction. The reality could be here sooner than you think.
It was long ball at the new stadium. I'm Rick Hager. The Sabres take a hit even before the Stanley Cup playoffs begin. Those stories coming up in sports on News 10 NBC.
On 390 southbound near Charlie Avenue in the airport work zone. And on 104 west, heading in across the Bay Bridge from Webster, there's some heavy traffic up there, still close to the posted limit, but that's likely to slow down in the next half hour. At 490 and 590, at least some slight delays are likely to develop over the next half hour at the Can of Worms. And this traffic is brought to you by Dorschel Oldsmobile. I'm Vern Roberts, News 10 NBC. Wendy?
Thanks, Vern. Major news about Ceara O'Connell. The 14-year-old Brighton girl who disappeared 4 months ago has now been found, and she's alive and apparently doing well. Ceara has been missing since shortly before Christmas. Her family says she was lured away from her home by an Air Force deserter she met on the internet. Ceara and Brooker Maltais were discovered in a small town called Energy in Illinois. It's in the southern part of that state, close to Kentucky. We're told Maltais is in custody and Ceara's family is awaiting word on her return home. It's expected that Ceara's family will be traveling to Illinois this morning to bring her home. We can trace part of the journey that Ceara and Maltais are believed to have traveled. Before the girl's disappearance, Maltais communicated with the girl over the internet from his home at a military base near Omaha, Nebraska. It's believed he traveled from there to Rochester to pick up Ceara. She was last seen in Rochester when her mother dropped her off at Marketplace Mall. The man who disappeared with Ceara O'Connell has remained a bit of a mystery. We first learned about 22-year-old Brooker Maltais much the same way Ceara did, from his internet webpage. We discovered he's into vampire games and Dungeons and Dragons. His friends on the internet describe him as the master manipulator. Because he was on active duty and a soldier when he disappeared, Maltais will likely be tried in a military court, and he is sure to face charges of desertion. We'll have to wait and see if Maltais will also face charges of kidnapping. News 10 NBC will continue to follow the story today, and we'll bring you the latest developments throughout the day. Your forecast is next.
News 10 NBC is brought to you by Southview Physical Therapy.
Computers are now as common in the workplace as coffee cups and time cards. But constant work on any keyboard can lead to some serious physical problems. At Southview Physical Therapy, we'll work with you to alleviate the painful side effects that you suffer as a result of working too long on your computer. So call us at Southview Physical Therapy. We'll have you back cruising the information superhighway in no time.
Southview Physical Therapy, you can feel the difference.
Jim Lanson is here with the weather, and you might not necessarily want to hear what he has to say.
Well, Wendy, let's be a little optimistic here this morning. April showers hopefully will bring some May flowers. We do have some showers downtown, but it is mixing in with a little light wet snow, especially in the Genesee Valley and also on some of the higher hilltops southwest of town. We have a temperature up to the minute at 36 degrees. The mercury's only going to go up another 6 or so. As we check radar here locally, you can see the area of precipitation. It's worked its way into the metro. The heavier activity is actually well west of here around Buffalo. Visibility at the Buffalo Airport in Cheektowaga down to 1/2 of a mile as some light snow is falling there. So all this activity spreading its way towards the east. So if you live in Waterloo, you're going to see some precipitation before the morning is over, of course. Unseasonably chilly today with mixed rain and snow showers, a high of 42. Tonight, another weather disturbance will enhance the snow shower activity, so the hilltops have a very good chance.
Here's News 10 NBC at noon with Rebecca LeClaire and meteorologist Kevin Williams.
Live, local, and up to the minute.
Good afternoon. I'm Wendy right here for Rebecca LeClaire today, who's on maternity leave. You've already noticed, I'm sure, it's a gloomy day out there. Jim Lanson is in today for Kevin Williams in the Doppler 10 Storm Center.
Wendy, we have plenty of clouds right now and just a fine mist downtown, but the areas south of the city of Rochester on the Bristol Hills and also around Warsaw and Wyoming counties, the snow is coming down at a fairly good clip. Light to moderate snow there. In Warsaw, they've received 5 inches of snow this morning. There is just a little more snow on the way, but the cold is going to linger the rest of the afternoon, Wendy. I'll be back in a few more minutes with our complete 5-day forecast. Hopefully, we'll have some good news and maybe the temperature will warm up by the weekend.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Topping our news this noon hour, a happy reunion for a Brighton mother and her daughter who's been missing for months. 14-year-old Ceara O'Connell is safe and sound. Police found her yesterday in a small Midwestern town. She'll be reunited with her family today. Ron Plants has the very latest on this developing story.
Well, Wendy, from what we understand, within the hour, Ceara's mother, Cheryl Keene of Brighton, and other family members are expected to see Ceara at the Williamson County Sheriff's Department in Marion, Illinois. As you pointed out, they know that she's safe and healthy, but there are still plenty of questions here.
Welcome home. That's what I want to say to her.
As Kevin O'Connell considers how to greet his niece Ceara, he's also pondering the strange circumstances of the story, which first began December 19th. That's when the 14-year-old freshman student from Rush Henrietta High School allegedly met 22-year-old Brooker Maltais at the Marketplace Mall, and they began their cross-country journey. The honor student apparently connected with the Air Force enlisted man on the computer internet. The case was highly publicized, including an appearance on the WHEC-TV show, which Michelle Robertson of Energy, Illinois, watched Wednesday morning.
I was watching Maury, and all of a sudden they said Brooker Maltais, and they started showing this picture, and I went hysterical.
Robertson immediately called police.
I worked with the guy. I didn't know he was anything like that.
The Williamson County Sheriff's Department arrested Maltais in the Illinois town around 6 o'clock last night.
I believe, though, that he knew that there were warrants on him. And at this time, we have one warrant from the United States Air Force Office of Special Investigations. He's wanted for absence without leave.
What I know is that right now she's in the custody of some authorities in Illinois. You know, what she's been through over the last 4 months and so forth, I have no idea.
Ceara's uncle was also asked last night if he felt she really wanted to come home.
That's my belief, yeah. On the other hand, you know, kid has been manipulated for 4 months. And I haven't spoken with her. That's rather hard to tell.
Now, we understand that Ceara did speak with her mother by phone, but apparently both were overcome with emotion, so it's hard to say exactly what they discussed. It's still not clear what kind of hold Maltais allegedly had on the girl, who reportedly at age 14 did not date much prior to their meeting. Authorities are also again trying to determine the extent of their relationship, Wendy.
So, Ron, what happens to Maltais now?
Well, Maltais, as the gentleman from the Sheriff's Department pointed out, he's still considered an active-duty Air Force enlisted man, so he's absent without leave from Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska, technically a deserter for the past several months, so he'll be charged as such and turned over to the Air Force. The question is, what about further charges such as kidnapping or even statutory rape, since she is a minor? Again, that's why they really need to determine the extent of this relationship, Wendy.
And Ron, there are many questions about exactly where Ceara and Maltais have been for the past few months and how they've occupied their time. We can trace part of the journey that they are believed to have taken. Before the girl's disappearance, Maltais communicated with the girl over the internet from his home on a military base near Omaha, Nebraska. It's believed he traveled from there to Rochester to pick up Ceara. She was last seen in Rochester when her mother dropped her off at the Marketplace Mall. After Ceara disappeared from Rochester, she was spotted with Brooker Maltais in a restaurant in a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. Troubling stories began to emerge then that the couple may have also been chatting over the computer with members of a vampire cult. We don't know where they've been since they left Kansas City, except that they were found in the small town of Energy, Illinois. We're told that a coworker recognized Brooker Maltais when his picture was shown on a national talk show yesterday, and then that coworker notified the authorities. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has been involved in this case for months, and today center officials are speaking out about how Ceara was tracked down. Susan Ashline has the very latest in a live report from the agency. Susan?
Never underestimate the power of the media. That was the message today coming out of a press conference at the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, that press conference wrapped up just moments ago. Since Ceara O'Connell's disappearance, the center, along with volunteers, has helped print and distribute close to 100,000 posters and flyers. On top of that, Ceara's family had been booked on several talk shows. In fact, as we mentioned, it was an appearance on the Maury Povich show yesterday that brought in the tip.
Most leads on missing children's cases come from neighbors and friends who might see something suspicious in their area. That, you know, without posters, without media, they won't ever see that child's face, and that's what makes the difference.
Now, the role of the Center for Missing and Exploited Children is not yet over. They can actually help with other things. For instance, they can help with paying for plane tickets and other ways of helping to safely get this child back home. Wendy?
Well, Susan, you mentioned that there are thousands of posters still posted around town. What should people do? Take them down now?
Yeah, there sure are a lot still up there. This was interesting. They actually mentioned that it would be a good idea to leave some of those posters up and actually take a marker and write the word recovered on them. That way it's positive and it's upbeat and it lets people know that children, yes, are actually found.
Okay, thanks a lot, Susan. And today is the day Ceara's mother has been hoping and praying for. She's been hoping for this reunion since her daughter's disappearance. Cheryl Keene flew to the Midwest to be reunited with her daughter today. Keene is expected to bring her daughter back home to Rochester later today, and we'll have complete coverage of this developing story tonight at 5 and 6 on News 10 NBC. There's more news ahead, including a terrible story about another airbag death involving a toddler. And Newt Gingrich gets a helping hand from another prominent Republican, and it may just be enough to get the controversial House Speaker out of hot water. Find out why when we come back.
Tonight on News 10 NBC's Live at 5.
Every time you go in a grocery store, you see them, people handing out food samples. Stores say it's an important selling tool, but could those samples make you sick?
I was having burning in my wrist.
Many people think they suffer from carpal tunnel pain, but now researchers have found a way to tell for sure.
Join Janet Lomax and Ted Coffey on News 10 NBC's Live at 5 tonight. Live, local, and up to the minute.
This is the tag to look for, and this is the only place to look. Raymore & Flanigan's Red Tag Sale with deep discounts on furniture and bedding for every room in your home. Factory overruns, truckload buyouts, and special purchases are clearly marked with obvious red tag savings. Plus, it's so easy to buy now. No money down, no interest, make no payments at all for 6 full months. Maximize your savings today during this red tag sale, now through Monday, only at Raymore & Flanigan.
A man went to his barber and said, "I'm turning gray. What do I do?" "Get a Ceara," said the barber. So he checked out the options, and when he was driving along at a pretty good clip, he opened the sunroof, relaxed in the leather, and listened to 12 CDs on the Bose stereo. Ceara comes with about every other luxury, so he thought his problem was sound. It wasn't, but he felt a lot better. Ceara, it's the caddy that zigs.
Lease a Ceara for 36 months at only $3.99 a month at your authorized Ceara dealer.
Want to spread a little sunshine by giving somebody an easy bouquet? Well, not a regular bouquet, but...
If you've noticed that your whites aren't as white and your brights aren't as bright as they could be, don't add more detergent or bleach. It's your water that's the problem. You see, minerals in the water trap dirt inside your clothes, leaving them dull and dingy. Luckily, there's Calgon water softener. Calgon removes the minerals, so your detergent and bleach can remove the dirt. So clothes come out cleaner and brighter. Calgon water softener cleans your water so your detergent can clean your clothes.
Must-see TV tonight and all new friends. Ow! Rachel's injured. But don't worry, Ross will help her get ready for her date. There you go. Then an all-new Susan. The gang's in the mountains for some R&R, if they survive.
What was that? If I'm not mistaken, it was Ned Beatty squealing like a pig.
And on Seinfeld, it's Cosmo Kramer, Rooster Boy. Then it's the new show critics are raving about.
It wasn't a dream. I really am poor.
An all-new fired up NBC tonight.
More trouble ahead for Bausch & Lomb. Rochester's third largest Fortune 500 company is reportedly going to slash spending by $100 million, and that could mean more jobs. Bausch & Lomb won't confirm anything until April 23rd when it releases first quarter earnings, but a print report says the company is trying to revive its stock price. B&L has been under pressure from shareholders because of lackluster sales and earnings. The company began a similar cost reduction program a couple of years ago. It looks like Newt Gingrich has found a way to pay his ethics fine and save his future career, too. The embattled House Speaker is getting some help from a Republican friend, former Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole. Gingrich is borrowing $300,000 from Dole to pay his fine for violating ethics policies. That means Gingrich won't have to pay campaign funds or won't have to use the funds to pay his penalty. And analysts said that move could have been career suicide. From Florida today, another tragic death involving a child and an airbag. This time, the toddler was sitting on his mother's lap. The accident happened when the car the child was in was rear-ended by another car. The airbag deployed, crushing the child to death as he sat in his mother's arms. The mother is hospitalized, and officials aren't releasing details of her condition. Police are still investigating this accident. The well-being of all children in America is the focus of a day-long conference at the White House. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary are hosting the event. One major finding reported already will encourage more parents to read to their children. Scientific research shows that reading to a child can literally cause the brain to grow. Talks on this information today will help determine how parents, teachers, and policymakers can best use it. Scientists say reading to infants and children is vital to their emotional, intellectual, and neurological development. Some past presidents are getting together today. Coming up later, we'll take you to the Gerald Ford Museum. It's being rededicated in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with honored guests, Presidents Bush and Carter. But first, Jim Lanson is here. Some snow in the outskirts of Rochester.
That's right, Wendy. Cloudy and gloomy here in the city itself, but in the hills to the south, a winter wonderland with up to 5 inches of snow in Warsaw. There is more snow in the forecast for the afternoon. I'll have that coming up in just a couple minutes.
Why pay more for the best name brand mattress? Price Buster Mattress is Rochester's only discount mattress store. We sell only the best brands, Sealy, Serta, Simmons, and King Coil. On March 3rd, we shopped a leading mattress store and a department store. Sealy Backsaver Firm Twin, their sale price, $109 each piece. Our price, $67 each piece. And a Serta Perfect Sleeper Queen, more than $100 off their sale prices. Why pay more? Price Buster Mattress, the lowest guaranteed prices every day. 625 Jefferson Road near Marketplace and Stone Ridge Plaza, Greece.
Tired of living through the extremes in our summer and winter weather? Call Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning and learn more about the total comfort system designed specially by Trane for our New York State weather. Right now, get up to $400 in manufacturer rebates on this exclusive Trane New York comfort system that can cut your monthly power bills. And get no payment, no interest financing for 90 days. Call Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning at 546-1400. It's hard to stop a train.
This might sound weird, but I kind of like doing dishes. I've got a system. My glasses first, then my silverware, then my plates.
Know the dirty glass?
Oh, now you've wrecked my whole system. How can this get clean after doing all the greasy stuff?
It's okay. You're using Dawn. See? Clean.
Ultra Dawn from Tops is the best at dissolving tough grease. It breaks it up and takes it away. Get Ultra Dawn at Tops Friendly Markets.
The Salvation Army is a force that's on the move. There's a little something for everyone in our thrift stores. And while you might appreciate the great value, every dollar spent here provides hope and opportunity throughout our community. The Salvation Army thrift stores, the best gift you didn't know you gave.
With the Salvation Army, everybody wins.
You're watching News 10 NBC at noon with Rebecca LeClaire and meteorologist Kevin Williams. Live, local, and up to the minute.
Cloudy and rainy and maybe even some snow headed our way. Jim Lanson's in the Doppler 10 Storm Center for Kevin Williams today.
Wendy, the cold air keeps filtering its way into western New York, and where the air has been the coldest, the precipitation has been falling all in the form of snow. That being in the hilltops south of town. Warsaw has received 5 inches since the snow began early this morning. They did have a lot of problems in Wyoming County on the roads, and hopefully even the plows may be out in that region. Here downtown, we're expecting no problems from the weather this afternoon, unless you're going to be outdoors and wanting to get a picnic in, because that weather will not cooperate. We have a low overcast sky producing some pockets of drizzle. The normal low temperature for today is 37 degrees, and that is all we're mustering right now. Wind chill at 24 with a raw wind off of Lake Ontario out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour. putting radar into motion from the last few hours. You can see the pocket here of precipitation really not moving much. And in the hills to the south, around Avon, just south of there, almost along Route 20 and further south, around Dansville, Swain, even Mount Morris and Geneseo, you are seeing a changeover to all snow, looking for an additional 1 to 2 inches there. But the snowfall amounts, since it all began early this morning, have ranged quite greatly. Nothing here downtown except some light rain. 1.4 inches of snow fell in Metro Buffalo. That actually at Cheektowaga, the airport location there. Batavia, 2 inches. It didn't coat the thruway at all, but it has led to damp roadways, of course. And the highest amount, we can update this to the minute, 5 inches now in Warsaw, and again, some of the hills south of town around Waterloo and also Canandaigua will see some of this action, at least light snowfall occurring. We have plenty of cloud cover, a few sucker holes. These are breaks in the overcast, but plenty of precipitation as that low pressure continues to drift onto the east, and that will give us a return flow out of the northwest. So there'll be more precipitation not only for the afternoon, but this evening and tomorrow. Hopefully, the weekend should cooperate. We'll have more on that in just a second. The trough of low pressure carves its niche here, leading all that cold weather out over the desert southwest. It's 74 at Phoenix at this hour, headed to a high of 89 degrees. If you want warmth, head there. Large dome of high pressure over the midsection of the country continues to bring in that southeast wind there. Locally for us, low pressure off the Atlantic seaboard tomorrow will intensify, almost a classic nor'easter, so it's really going to pound the Adirondacks. We'll look for a little bit more snow shower activity tomorrow, so it's not going to be the best of weather over the next several days. In the short term for this afternoon, damp and chilly, just a couple of sprinkles downtown, some more snow showers, especially on the hilltops south of routes 5 and 20, an additional 1 to 2 inches. It could coat the grassy surfaces in the eastern Finger Lakes. I don't think you're going to have to shovel it, but if you're watching us in Warsaw, you'll be shoveling it because it's not going to melt over the next couple of days. A high this afternoon of 39, a raw northwest wind at 10 to 20. Wind should increase higher than 20 miles per hour, so we don't believe there should be any significant additional erosion on the Lake Ontario shoreline. For this evening, the chill continues with some scattered snow showers, a coating on the grassy surfaces in town, a good possibility with a low of 28 degrees. Your 5-day forecast, a little bit of improvement for the weekend, but tomorrow another damp and raw day, a high of 42, a few peaks of the sunshine very late, but nothing to write home about. We'll reach near 51 on Sunday and 51 on Monday, Wendy, so a little bit of a warm-up in sight. Still below the normal high temperature, but the snowfall that there's there now in the hills will be melting by that time. It's a taste of winter in mid to late April here.
Right, and we might have perfect polar bear weather today to pick the winning Name the Cub entry, and there it is, the cute little baby polar bear, who will find out its name when you do. Thousands of entries went through our Name the Cub contest, and we will announce the winner tonight live from the Seneca Park Zoo, so be sure to tune in tonight at 6 o'clock to find out its name. Today, Mr. Food has a sweet idea, give someone a cookie bouquet.
It's time to spread a little sunshine by doing something unexpectedly nice for someone. I mean, it's almost Secretary's Day, and Mother's Day is right around the corner, and besides, even if we don't have a special reason, it's still fun to make someone happy. But, how can we stand out from the crowd and do something a little different? That's easy. I mean, there's nothing that says it better than flowers, but there's no need to give the same old, unless we put a little twist on it, like this. We make our favorite chocolate chip dough, and we drop tablespoons of batter on a cookie sheet. Now, we insert a skewer or a popsicle stick on the side, and we bake it. And when it's cool, we wrap them in wax paper or colored plastic wrap or tissue, and we tie them with a ribbon. We've got the makings for some long-stem beauties that'll melt their hearts while they're melting in their mouths. See, that little extra effort really does go a long way. And if we don't want to make it all from scratch, refrigerator cookie dough works great too. And you don't have to wait for spring to spring this little surprise on them. I mean, they're so easy and different. They're super year-round smile makers. And if you'd like the recipe idea, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope marked Cookie Bouquet to me, Mr. Food, right here at the station. We'll get it back to you for being the best of the bunch. I mean, these are as much fun to give as they are to receive. And enjoy eating, too. So everybody gets to say, oh, it's so good.
And you can get Mr. Food's recipes on the internet. Here's our website address, www.10nbc.com. Up next, a plus-size fitness instructor comes to town, and she has some advice that could help even the most devout couch potato get started on an exercise program. But first, a look at Wall Street. News 10 NBC's exclusive index is up, and now for a check of the rest of the day's stock activity.
News 10 NBC is brought to you by Bob James Equipment. We make it easy for you.
At Bob James Equipment, we have what you need in white lawn and garden products. Built in the USA, white tractors and yard equipment are tough and dependable, and you won't choke on the price. Every sale is backed by our friendly, knowledgeable staff in the service and parts department. Come to Bob James Equipment for all your lawn and garden needs. Priced to make it easy for you.
At Bob James Equipment, that's what we do.
There's a new face for Rochester's classic hits. The River.
Change is good.
93.3.
The amazing Dirt Devil broom vac sweeps and picks up dirt in one easy motion. You'll never have to stoop to using a dustpan again. Nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil. With the amazing Dirt Devil Ultra MVP, you get maximum vacuum power and the longest reach of any upright. Just think of the steps you can do now. Nothing escapes the power of a Dirt Devil.
Yes, I'm usually seen with this hat, but I also wear another hat at home because I'm a caregiver. You know, whether we choose it or not, or want to believe it or not, all of a sudden, most of us become caregivers of a parent or brother or sister. And then comes the confusion and the frustration and the uncertainty. Who's responsible financially? And legally, what are my options? In-home care, nursing home care. How will my life change? Who can help me? Where do I go? Well, the place to start is Thompson's Elder Care Sourcebook. It's a guide and directory with lists especially made for our area to answer the questions of what agencies and experts to contact for information and assistance. It leads us to understand the problems we'll face. It calms the frustration and confusion as easily as turning the pages. Order your copy today of Thompson's Elder Care Sourcebook. Call toll-free at 1-888-AGE-INFO. Caregivers have enough to deal with without the unknowing of where to go and who can help. We'll still have those questions, but we'll also have the answers.
Welcome back. Joining us today is Dee Hackala, who is a plus-size fitness instructor and a woman who has just written a book. It's called Thin is Just a 4-Letter Word. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you. How are you, Wendy?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
You have advice for women who not necessarily are just trying to lose weight, but to be fit at the size they're at.
That's right. Well, the basis of the book and my own personal philosophy comes from being overweight all my life and realizing that having tried every diet in this country, I got to a point back in 1989 I talk about in the book called critical mass. I was approaching 350 pounds with high blood pressure, diabetes, and back problems, and I realized that most of my life it had been, you know, to fit into that dress or to get the date, but I was killing myself in the current shape I was in, and I needed to get up to do something about it.
And getting started, particularly for women who are overweight and have been overweight most of their lives, is sometimes the hardest thing.
Totally tracking with you. I totally agree. In fact, if it weren't for a friend that had bought me a gift certificate and dragged me over to this club, I probably would have never went. But I realized when I got inside, even though the room was filled with what I call thong-clad hard bodies, I needed to be in that room, and I wanted to feel like I could be a part of that norm. And I think by trying, I realized that my perception of myself was starting to change. And even if I couldn't keep up, trying was succeeding for me. And I think that's really the foundation that started the real mental change, that fitness comes from the inside out. And genetically, we're just not all going to look like the models on the covers of magazines, but that doesn't mean we should sit on the couch and not try to get fit.
But you said even sitting on the couch is something people can get started at. You can burn calories
that's
that way.
right. In fact, while we're going to sit here on the couch, I think movement is the biggest thing, and knowing that there are so many different options out there to move. And even though that we're kind of dressed up here, could you sit in a chair and jog your legs and take about 5 minutes of jogging and maybe do some bicep curls as you're seated? A lot of times people that are very inactive can't necessarily start running marathons, and you really shouldn't. But there are 5 minutes a day, whether it's raking or whether it's a little extra housework. Functional fitness is very achievable for everyone if they will try.
We thank you very much for explaining all of this to us today.
Well, thank you.
And this is a book that's in most of the local bookstores, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding it. We'll be right back.
For the best oldies on the radio, it's Oldies 98.9 WKLX.
I love it. I listen to it all the time.
Give me 3 reasons why our Francesco Rinaldi is selling so well.
It's the taste, it's the Francesco Rinaldi taste.
That's only one reason.
No, it's 3.
He's right. And remember, we stand behind every Francesco Rinaldi jar.
Now you can enjoy the taste of restaurant soups at home. Introducing new frozen Campbell's restaurant soup. Like our cream of broccoli cheese, we start with crisp broccoli, fresh cream, 2 cheeses, so it's like no soup you ever bought in a store. And we flash freeze it so it stays firm and fresh tasting for you at home. Try new Campbell's restaurant soup. It's like dining out when you're dining in.
Want something new for dinner? Try great-tasting Giorgio pierogies. It's pasta filled with potato and cheese, or potato and onion. Ready in minutes, Giorgio pierogies are great as a side dish or as a main course. Use Giorgio pierogies instead of potatoes. Use them instead of spaghetti. You can even use them instead of rice. Well, sometimes.
Giorgio pierogies or breaded mini pierogies instead. Available at Wegmans.
It's not just dental care, but dental caring. Acute Dental Group. It's knowing how to make that smile last throughout your life. It's being there when you need us with the right advice. It's not just dental care, but dental caring. Acute Dental Group.
This rain does not look like it's going to disappear this afternoon.
No, Wendy, damp and chilly for the metro, but again on the hilltops south of town where temperatures are even colder, the snow will continue there. An additional 1 to 2 inches. Temperatures falling from 38 at 3 o'clock to 32 at 9. There could be a few slick spots on area roadways late tonight after dark, so everybody should be advised of that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim. 3 former U.S. presidents were on hand today in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was to celebrate the rededication of the Gerald R. Ford Museum. Past presidents Jimmy Carter and George Bush and their wives joined Lady Bird Johnson in offering congratulations to Gerald Ford and his wife. A $5 million renovation project upgraded the 16-year-old museum. Among the exhibits added, the tools used in the 1972 Watergate break-in. President Ford termed the museum as a classroom of American democracy.
He looks good, too.
Yeah, certainly. All those presidents together in one place.
Right. Just watch out with Gerald Ford golfing, though. You take one on the noggin.
I don't know if any of that will get in the museum, though.
No, I doubt it.
We thank you very much for joining us today on News 10 NBC. We'll be back tonight at 5 and 6 with all the latest news stories for you. Have a great afternoon. Watch out for the rain out there.
And the snow, too. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
If you have a news tip, call the News 10 NBC hotline at 232-1010 or star 10 on your Frontier Cellular phone. For all the safety, security, and convenience you need, Frontier Cellular.